Hey guys, it's Chili here. Let's take a look at the homework solution for tutorial 13. Now I gave you 2 missions, easy and hard. So let's take a look at the easy mission first of all. It's got 2 parts. First off, we want to make it so that we have to avoid the poos. Touching the poos should be a game over condition. So that means that we're going to have to renovate our poo class a little bit. Because first of all, is eaten isn't going to be a thing anymore, right? There's no eating of the poos in the champagne room, so we'll get rid of that. Now, process consumption is kind of a misleading title because we're not consuming anymore. So let's change it to say like something like test collision, all right? We're still going to pass a dude because that's the thing we're going to be testing collision against, but let's make it return a bool, which is the result, whether or not the dude is colliding with the poo in question. And we're going to make it const because it's no longer changing the poo class now, right? There's no is consumed thing. Now, in here where we got, okay, we got the poo process consumption here. This has got to be obviously test collision, and it's got to be a bool, and it's got to be a const. And if we do that, the IntelliSense should get off our back. Next, well, what we're doing here is we are, calculating some constants, and then we're doing a test to see if there's collision. Now, when there's no more is eaten, so we don't need that shit. What we're gonna do instead is we're just gonna return the result of this stuff directly. Because if this evaluates to true, then that means there's collision, and then we have to return true. So don't need an if statement, just return the result directly. And if we do that, I think our poo class should be good. We don't need the is eaten member function, obviously. So we can get rid of that from here and from here. And that's that. Now let's go over to game.h. Where is it? No, I've clicked on it already. And we're going to add a boolean here. We're going to bool is game over. And we're going to make that false initially. Alright, now we're going to go into game.cpp. Here we got some work to do. Alright, good. That stuff's already been minimized. What have we got in store? Well, first of all, the is eaten shit. This is not a thing anymore, right? Eating the poo is no longer kosher. Instead, we're going to test is game over. Much simpler. And if game's over, we draw the game over thing, obviously. Now, what else we got here? We're going to draw the dude. That's fine. Now here, we're testing to see if poo is eaten, and if so, we're going to draw it. But since poo now cannot be eaten, let's just cut to the chase and draw all the poos. No test required. And if we go up here, process consumption is now going to be test collision. Now, we want to do something with the result of this test collision here. So what we want to do is if test collision returns true, which means if there is a collision, we're just going to set game or is game over equal to true. And that's about it. So we update the poos, and then if there's a collision, we set the game over equal to true. Everything else should be about the same. Now, if I build this and run it, we get an assertion failed initialized equal to true. I already know what that is. That has to do with this. From the end of the last tutorial, I didn't fix this, so we're still not initializing the final poo in the array. So let's try this again. I think I'm going to die basically immediately. Yeah, there we go. Game over. It's weird, though. I can still move the poo, and I can still move the dude, and all the poos are still here, and the game over screen is being covered. So this is dumb. This is pretty dumb. Let's see if we can fix it. First off, if the game is over, we don't want to be updating the game state. We just leave the screen frozen. So let's go into here and let's go if is started and not is game over. And that should help us out here. Now I want to draw the game over screen at the end. So we're going to put that there. Draw the dude, draw the poo. I'm going to draw the dude after the poos. So the dude will be drawn over top of the poos. Shouldn't really be an issue. Shouldn't get much overlap. But that's what I'm going to do. So draw the poos first, then the dude, then the game over. So the game over ends up being on top, right? Painter's algorithm. Last thing drawn is the thing that's going to be topmost. Now, there's too many poos. You're dying immediately. So let's set the number of poos down to 10. And let's try this. All right, eat the poo. Here we go. Great. Oh, shit, you're dead. Well, fuck me. Okay, and here we got the game over screen. Everything is beautiful. So that's the first part. Second part of this little odyssey here, the easy task, was to make the dude collect some gold. So let's create a class for that. We don't have to, but it's not a bad idea, right? Let's add a new item, header file, and we're going to call it gold.h. And all right, so what do we got here? We got a class, call it goal, and we're gonna need to know about what? Graphics, first of all, for sure. Private. So what data does goal have? Obviously, it's gonna have int x, int y. And let's also add a constant here for the color. We'll set it to colors red. So the goal is going to be red. Now, public. What functions we're going to need here? Public. Well, I mean, obviously we're going to need a constructor for this guy. Goal int in x and in y. And you know what? I'm going to implement all these functions inside the header file because I'm feeling lazy today. So we'll use the class initializer thing here to initialize our x and y. Now we need a draw function. Now our goal is going to be just a square, right? So what we want to be able to do is draw a square. I say we go grab the draw rectangle function from our other thing that we were doing and jam it into this solution here. So here's the rectangle code from the tutorial 11 homework, I believe. It's just, your standard draw rect function plus a wrapper function here that, has mad sick flow, or I don't know what you call it. Doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to copy this bullshit. And we're going on to our thing here. So we're going to go into graphics.h and we'll just paste it after put pixel. And then we go back into our draw rect stuff. We're going to go to definition or implementation, whatever it's called. And we'll copy this and we're going to minimize this. We'll go into graphics.cpp, which is this one. We'll go down to the bottom here. And maybe not the very bottom. Not into the exception stuff. Right here after put pixel, we'll put in the draw rect. And that should be fine. Copy pasta successful. Now we can go into here. We can go gfx.drawRect, do with dimensions. And let's add another constant to our class. Static const expression int, and we'll just call it dimension. And we'll set it equal to, I don't know what it is, 16, or let's say make it 20. So it's a 20 by 20 deal here, and draw rect is going to be just x, y, and then dimension, and color C. And there you go. You got your draw function, you got your goal function. Now we're going to want a function that checks for collision, and it's basically just the same thing as the poo, ain't it? So we're just going to, copy test collision, put her in here. What do we got here? Let's refactor, create definition in Go. That's EPP. Now we're putting all the implementations in this file. So fuck that. We're gonna need to know about dude though. So include the dude, and then we're gonna go into poo and toggle. What is all this bullshit? Get rid of that. And we're going to copy the body of the function. We're going to we're going to go back to our goal, and we're going to paste that here. Tab that over. And we don't need initialized here because we're not going to have an array of goals, so that doesn't make any sense. Width and height is just going to be dimension in this situation here. And I think that's it. That is all we need for our goal. So now we just got to implement the logic to put this into the old gameroo. So we're going to go into game.cpp or maybe game.h. We're going to add our goal. Well, first off, we got to include goal into this whole deal here. So include goal.h. And then we are going to add that motherfucker. So goal. Sweet. Now goal only, it doesn't have a default constructor. So we're going to expect to see an error here. And we do see an error right here. It says no default constructor exists for goal. And that's fine. All we're going to do is we're going to use our X and our Y distributions to initialize the position of our goal, because it has similar dimensions to our poo, or our dude, I should say, and our poo. I guess mainly the poo is the important one. So we can use the same distribution. It's not going to go off the side of the screen. So we initialize our goal, and let's go outlining. And you can't see this. Let me just click over here. Outlining and collapse to definitions, because this shit's pissing me off. Yeah, we just don't want those drawing functions. And now we gotta check to see if we reach the goal. So we do all this stuff here. And then we go if goal.testCollision dude. And the question is, what are we going to do if the dude reaches the goal? Well, in the thing I showed you, we just moved the goal to a new spot. So we can't do that right now. We don't have a function for that. So let's make a function, void respawn, and just go int x, int y, and, fuck. I can't give them the same name. Well, I mean, I could, but it's not really a good idea. So I'm just going to go in x, in y here, and x is equal to in fucking underscore x, y is equal, where's my equal sign? In y. There we go. All right. And then in the game, obviously, we're going to go into here. We're going to go goal.respawn. And let's just copy this bullshit here. Save ourselves some misery. There we go. All right, so this should get us what I showed you before, if I haven't fucked anything up, which I may have. Distinct possibility as usual. All right. Okay, so first off, we're not drawing the goal. Probably gonna be a problem. So where do we want to draw the goal? I guess we'll draw it under the dude. Above the poo? Under the poo. So goal.draw graphics. There we go. Build again. Wait. And okay. Well, we got the goal there, but I died immediately. So let's try it again. See if I don't die immediately. Sweet. And there we go. And it looks like it's working now. Beautiful. We can grab goals until the cows come home. Until the goal spawns directly under a poo, and then we're fucked. But that's not my problem. I make the game, I'm not playing it. Alright, so that was the easy part. Now, for the extra challenge, first off, there's two parts to that. Making the goal glow and making the meter. So I guess the easier of these two things would be making the goal glow. If you're not interested in the extra challenge, you can leave the video right now after clicking the like button, of course. And but if you're interested, stick around and I'll show you some dumb bullshit. So now the color isn't going to be static constant expression, right? Because it's going to be changing frame to frame. So we're going to set the color, and we'll set it to some initial value. And what we're going to set it to is this value here. So that's red, green, blue. So It's going to be a dim red color. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function called update color. And what this is going to do is this is going to increase or decrease the values of the color here every frame. So what we want to do is let's create a bool, and we'll call it color increasing, and we'll set it equal to true initially. So we got two cases for updating color. If we're in the color increasing mode, then we want to increase the values until we reach some maximum, and then we want to change it to double color decreasing mode. So what is the maximum value? Well, we're going to be increasing red, green, and blue together. So what we want to do is we want to end up in a white color. So we're starting at a dim red and we're going to end up in white. So at the end, red is going to be around 255. So what we do is we do a test here. If the red component is greater than or equal to 253, then that means we've reached the maximum and we want to switch the direction that we're going to be moving. So we're going to be decreasing the color then. But if we haven't reached the maximum yet, then what we're going to want to do is set color equal to, and the color channels get red, get green, get blue, plus 2, 4, and 4. Because we want to end up in white, right? But red is already halfway there. So we're going to be increasing red at a slower rate than we're increasing green and blue. And we keep increasing them at this rate until they all reach close to 255. It's going to be around 253. The math works out. Trust me on this one. So we keep increasing these ones until red reaches this level, and then we change the direction, in which case every frame it's going to enter this part here. And in here, we do something very different, or almost the same actually, which is to say we decrease the red, green, and blue values every frame until red reaches 127 or lower, and then we change the direction again, in which case we'll enter this mode. So there's two modes, increasing and not increasing. And this test here determines if we've reached the turning point to switch the mode. And that's all we really need to do to get the goal to pulsate. But one last thing, obviously we need to actually call that function, and we're going to call it in update model. So we'll just call it at the beginning of the function here, outside of this if statement. Basically because I want it to glow even if it's game over. Because if we put it inside here, then it will stop updating the color when we reach the game over state. And so we'll put it outside of this if statement. And if we build and run it, we see that now our goal is in fact glowing. And you can play around with the function that updates the color. You can get it to go in all sorts of different weird color things and cycling colors or whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's one way of doing it. Now the last part is a little more substantial. We want to create a meter that goes in here, and that will keep track of how many times we have gotten the goal. So we're going to want to create a class for that for sure. So to make a long story short and to keep this video's length, under like 30 minutes, I created a header file called meter.h, created, a standard class, included graphics, and the meter class has a bunch of functions. It's going to have, well, first of all, let's take a look at the data. It's got an X and Y value, and that's just the position where the meter is going to be drawn on the screen. So it's the top left corner of the meter. You got a variable here, and that's the level of the meter, and that indicates how long the meter bar is going to be. And then I got some constants. Color, self-explanatory. The girth of the meter is basically just the tallness of it, how fat the meter is. And the scale is how many pixels the meter will grow for every level of the meter. So a larger scale will mean the meter will grow faster as you increase the level value. And that's it for the data. You got your standard constructor, sets the position of the meter, and you got two functions here to increase the level of the meter and to get the level of the meter. And then you got a draw function that's going to draw that motherfucker. So in here, drawing rectangle dimension again. Obviously, we're going to start at the X and Y position. Now here's where the width. What is the width going to be? Well, it's going to be the level of the meter times the scale. And that's it. So if you got like, if you've collected 3 goals, your meter is going to be 3 times 4, which is 12 pixels wide. And the height is just going to be the girth. That's the same every time. And the color is going to be C. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. We're going to go into game.h and we're going to add the meter. Well, first we're going to include the meter so that we know about it in this source file. And meter. If you wonder why I always type the @ sign, it's because on a Japanese keyboard, double quotes is where the @ sign is on an English keyboard. So it's on the number 2. God damn it. So, meter. We want a meter. And we'll just call it meter. And we'll toggle over. And because don't have a default constructor for that mother, IntelliSense is getting up our butt. So let's set the meter. And I'll just put it at 2020. It doesn't matter where you put it, really. Somewhere in the top left corner seems good to me, though. And now we got to draw the meter. And I want to draw the meter on top of everything. So we'll go meter.draw graphics. And we get to increase the value of the meter whenever we collide with the goal. So we're going to go meter.increase level here whenever test collision returns true. And if we build this mother, things should be highly copacetic. So we get this guy and the meter increases. And let's avoid the poo. And get this guy, meter increases a little bit more. You get the goddamn idea. Now we'll just commit suicide. I want to commit suicide. There we go. I missed it. I wanted to be under the game over thing, but of course I realized that if you manage to actually collect enough of the goals, you can make the meter go off the end of the screen and crash the program. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over this. Anyways, if you want, you can, build in a safety thing that will limit the value of the level so that it can't go past the end of the screen. But as for Chili, he gives no fucks. Anyways, so that's it. That's the homework. Hope you were able to, find success in everything. It's all good. And good times. And I will see you soon with some more C++.